That's a myth.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've been in a lot of lobbies. I didn't see anybody. So I remember when I was coming in, they did this article, Esquire article, about how the girls would be waiting down. So I was looking for that. Never happened.
Everything you think you know about NBA group culture is shaped by cameras, not reality. From the outside, it looks like brotherhood, chemistry, and shared purpose. But inside the league, it's often a shifting system of alliances built on minutes, roles, and survival. Players don't just compete against opponents. They compete within their own locker room for trust, opportunity, and relevance. And that pressure quietly reshapes every relationship. The man who understands this most clearly didn't learn it from commentary or documentaries. He lived through seasons where talent wasn't enough, where egos collided daily, and where staying on top meant reading people as carefully as reading defenses.
But as I get older and dwell on situations, I can honestly say it was all me.
Shaquille O'Neal isn't just talking about the glamour of the NBA. He's pointing at what happens after it fades, when the applause stops and the structure that once held everything together disappears overnight. Because for many players, the league doesn't just provide wealth. It provides a full ecosystem, agents managing decisions, teams covering logistics, friends and entourage feeding off the lifestyle, and a rhythm where money comes faster than it's learned. Then retirement hits, and suddenly the support system vanishes while the spending habits stay the same, leaving a brutal gap that catches even the biggest names off guard. Shaq's perspective matters because he didn't just survive that system. He studied it, adapted to it, and built outside of it, turning what destroys many careers into a blueprint for longevity.
That's a myth.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've been in a lot of lobbies. I didn't see anybody. So I remember when I was coming in, they did this article, Esquire article, about how the girls would be waiting down. So I was looking for that. It never happened.
According to Shaq's perspective, the real damage isn't coming from the stereotypical distractions people love to point at. It's coming from something far less visible and far more systemic. It's the pressure of constant financial responsibility, the sudden shift from being managed to being fully on your own, and the network of expectations that follows a player even after the spotlight fades. Relationships don't collapse in dramatic moments. They erode slowly under lifestyle inflation, poor guidance, misplaced trust, and a lack of structure once the league support system disappears. In that sense, Shaq isn't defending players or blaming outsiders. He's challenging the narrative itself, suggesting that what breaks NBA lives isn't temptation, but the environment they had dropped into without preparation for what comes after the game.
If you live a tiger lifestyle and then you try to become a tame tiger, it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. So
the tiger lifestyle, as Shaq frames it, isn't about one bad decision or one moment of excess. It's about a way of living that gets built around constant pressure, constant access, and constant expectation. When you're in the league, everything is fast: money, attention, friendships, travel, opportunities, and obligations. And that speed becomes normal even when the structure that supports it disappears. So when players step away from basketball, they don't just lose a job. They lose a cage that kept the lifestyle contained, and many continue living as if the system is still feeding it. Shaq's point is that this isn't about morality or discipline alone. It's about what happens when a life built at full intensity suddenly has no boundaries, no breaks, and no team around it to absorb the impact.
right? And then, us being not committed, everything is an excuse. Because once you say to somebody, I'm going to commit to you, you got to do your job as a man. Right? Once I say you're my girlfriend, do your job as a man. Everything else is an excuse. All that is so much into that. Once I say I commit to you, I'm supposed to do that as a man. I didn't do that. That's why all my has always failed. So
instead, Shaq's framing pushes a responsibility away from individuals and toward the environment that surrounds elite athletes from the moment they enter the league. In his view, relationships don't collapse because one person is right or wrong, but because the entire ecosystem is built on intensity, constant travel, constant attention, constant opportunity, and very little room for normal life rhythms to develop. Even things like marriage, fatherhood, and public image are happening inside a pressure cooker where privacy is rare and stability is hard to maintain. So when he avoids blame, it's not about excusing outcomes. It's about recognizing that the same system that creates legends also creates strain that most people outside the game never see.
I be looking at like, hey, how many of y'all got girlfriends? Yeah, 70%
70% of y'all girlfriends gonna sleep with another NBA player.
Yep.
Why y'all dating them? So
Yep.
get that over you.
Because you introducing her to a life. So if she
Introducing
wants
her
this
to a life that you are the beginning of.
Yep.
You know, there's a Curry in the league that she been watching, LeBron in the league that she been watching, got Jason Tatum, she got John Morant. Yeah. You on the road, goddammit. You on the road. You on the road. And John Morant hit through the DM. Trust me, brother.
Shaq's point, underneath all the storytelling, is a collision between two completely incompatible lives. On one side, you have the NBA world, fast movement, constant validation, curated luxury, and an endless supply of attention that reinforces a player's identity every single day. On the other side, you have the expectation of a normal, stable personal life built on consistency, presence, and routine. The problem isn't just temptation or fame. It's that the league trains athletes to operate in a reality where everything is amplified, then asks them to switch that off instantly the moment they step into marriage, fatherhood, or long-term commitment. That gap, more than any single mistake, is what creates the tension Shaq is describing.
You actually know NBA players who pay women up to $60,000 a month to just keep things quiet.
That's the NBA. That's the going rate.
That's the going rate?
For the most part.
What this angle is really highlighting is how NBA wealth isn't just money owned. It's money immediately pulled into motion. Salaries that look generational on paper get divided across taxes, agents, lifestyle spending, family obligations, and legal agreements that don't pause when the career does. For someone like Gilbert Arenas, the headline number hides a reality that income at that level comes with long-term commitments that outlast peak earning years, especially when contracts, support payments, and lifestyle expectations are locked in while the player is still at the height of their career. The trapped narrative isn't about one specific situation. It's about how quickly financial gravity returns once the inflow slows, and how unprepared many athletes are for that transition after years of living inside peak earning conditions.
And 60,000 was between three dudes. 20.
Okay, so 160 for one guy.
Yeah, it was 20. If she's messing with three dudes, three max players,
Okay.
and they all paying her $20,000 a month.
What's really being described here isn't a literal price list, but a power shift that happens the moment a player enters the NBA. Suddenly, attention, money, and status concentrate around them, and every relationship they form exists inside that imbalance, where access to them carries value and proximity to their lifestyle changes how people behave. Gilbert Arenas' point in interviews isn't that everything is transactional by design, but that fame quietly turns normal social situations into environments where motives are harder to read and boundaries are easier to lose. For a rookie, it can feel like celebration and freedom, but underneath it is a system where perception, influence, and opportunity constantly reshape the meaning of trust.
When I got into the NBA and I was going to the meetings, they were saying 7 out of 10 players get divorced. Now it's 9 out of 10 players.
That kind of framing is usually oversimplified for impact. In real NBA discussions, what Gilbert Arenas and others have pointed out isn't a literal pay for silence system, but how legally binding financial obligations, like child support, settlements, and lifestyle agreements, can scale into very large monthly figures once income, contracts, and court calculations are factored in. When someone says $60,000 a month, it's not a secret payment structure tied to hush money. It's typically the result of formulas based on reported earnings, custody arrangements, and legal rulings that continue even after career earnings decline. The real point Arenas is getting at is less conspiracy and more consequence. Once a player's income peaks and then drops, fixed obligations don't adjust at the same speed, and that mismatch is what creates long-term financial pressure.
Kevin Garnett got a divorce.
Yeah.
Like
Shaq got a divorce.
Shaq got a divorce. Michael Jordan got a divorce. So I want to tell, this is for all the players. I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the one. Like, well, shorty saying next to us ain't it.
The reality underneath these viral narratives is less a hidden system and more a mix of extreme wealth, limited time, and weak transition support for young players suddenly dropped into adult pressure at scale. When someone goes from high school or college into the NBA, they don't just gain money. They gain constant attention, freedom, and access in environments where normal boundaries are harder to maintain, and every decision carries amplified consequences. Former players like Gilbert Arenas often speak about this from experience, but what they are really pointing to isn't organized schemes or coded economies. It's how quickly lifestyle inflation, poor financial planning, and emotional inexperience can collide when structure disappears outside the court. In that gap between fame and stability, problems don't come from a single factor. They build gradually until they become difficult to manage.
That's how my child support didn't skyrocket. So whenever me and Laura had fights and we broke up, and I'm paying her $10,000 a month, I'm writing it as child support on my paperwork. There wasn't an allowance. I'm not dating you. This is not an allowance. This is child support.
Yeah.
So when the judge says, "How did you live when you guys broke up?" Here's my paperwork.
Boom.
I've been paying her. While we were together, her allowance was 10. When we broke up, it was 20.
What's being framed as a new villain is really just the evolution of fame, not a hidden system rewriting rules behind scenes. Dennis Rodman's era already showed how NBA life came with constant attention, nightlife, and access in every city. But today, those same dynamics are amplified by social media, higher salaries, and non-stop visibility that follows players everywhere. The core reality hasn't changed. Young athletes are still dropped into extreme wealth and attention with limited preparation. But the scale and speed of that environment make it feel more intense and more chaotic than before, even though the underlying human patterns remain the same.
No?
I'm gonna end up alone. I already know.
Why?
Because
Is that just what you want?
No, because y'all be making rules up as we go along. Like, there is no handbook on how to be the perfect man or perfect husband.
You're right.
I know it. There ain't no handbook. And y'all be making up without telling us.
What this is really pointing to is how modern fame removed the old barriers and replaced them with constant exposure, where everything in an athlete's personal life can now become instant public content. That shift makes mistakes more visible and consequences feel more severe, especially for NBA players who already live under extreme financial and social pressure with short careers and long post-career obligations. But framing it as a deliberate system of extraction misses the real drivers: legal responsibilities, personal choices, financial habits, and the reality that sudden wealth without preparation tends to create instability over time. The result isn't a hidden mechanism working against players. It's a high-intensity environment where every decision is amplified and harder to contain once it becomes public.
You know, may not be a husband, but I'm always be a father. And the father's job is to protect, provide, and love. I have two, I don't like to use the term baby mamas, I have two wonderful women that have given me beautiful, gorgeous children. I have to protect and I have to provide and I have to love for them forever. That's why I work so hard.
What this is really getting at is not a hidden rule about courts, money, or relationships, but the way high-profile athletes experience life under constant exposure and consequence. Legal obligations like child support can change based on income and evidence, but those are case-by-case outcomes within standard legal systems, not a pattern that defines all players. And when it comes to figures like Shaquille O'Neal, the real theme in his public comments is less about shutting people out and more about how long-term fame naturally makes people more cautious with trust, privacy, and relationships. The broader reality is that extreme visibility and wealth tend to intensify both rewards and risks in personal life, rather than creating a single predetermined outcome.